You would need to go back 300 million years to find the biggest insects that ever existed. The dragonfly-like bugs of the extinct order Meganisoptera, sometimes called griffinflies, could reach up to 28 inches, and their huge mandibles made them formidable predators. While no insects have reached the size of the massive griffinflies since the Paleozoic era, there are still a few species today that nature has endowed with an impressive size. But which is the biggest? Well, stay tuned, because here are the 15 gigantic insects that will change how you see nature. Number 15. Titan beetles. Some creatures don't need bright colors or wings to leave an impression, they just show up silent and massive. Titan beetles do exactly that. Found deep in the Amazon, these beetles can reach over 6.5 inches in length. With a body that feels more machine than insect, nobody's ever found a larva, but the hollowed-out trees they leave behind, 2 inches wide and a foot deep, paint a clear picture of something colossal chewing through the wood in total darkness. The adult beetles are slow, heavy, and armed with mandibles that can split pencils and break skin. Despite the threat they pose on paper, they don't attack unprovoked. People still line up to hold them, and ecotourism brochures proudly show tourists posing with one on their palm like it's a jungle trophy. They're found across Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, and parts of Peru. Quiet, ancient wanderers of the rainforest floor. Not flashy, not fast, just unnervingly huge. Number 14. Stick insects. It's not the size that gets you at first, it's the moment you realize the twig you were staring at has legs. Stick insects are living contradictions. Huge, but practically invisible. Some of the largest, like Phryganistria chinensis, stretch over 25 inches from end to end. That's longer than most household cats, yet they vanish completely against a backdrop of trees and leaves. Unlike most oversized animals that rely on brute force or speed, these insects survive by doing almost nothing. No bright colors, no wings buzzing, just stillness. Some species in Southeast Asia live in treetops, feeding on leaves and moving as little as possible to avoid detection. They don't bite, sting, or make noise. They just outlast everything that tries to find them. Their lifespan is surprisingly long too, reaching up to 3 years. If there's ever been a master of hiding in plain sight, it's one of these bizarre, oversized ghosts hanging on a branch right in front of you. Number 13. Giant wetas. Everything about them feels ancient, like they never got the memo that the age of giants was over. Giant wetas are found in isolated pockets of New Zealand, clinging to survival in places where rats and other invasive species haven't wiped them out. Most grow to the size of a small mouse, but one female from Little Barrier Island tipped the scales at 2.5 ounces, heavier than some birds. The name comes from Maori, Wetapunga, meaning god of ugly things. It's not exactly flattering, but there's a certain charm to their armored grasshopper-like bulk. They don't chirp like crickets. They don't flee at high speed. They move with a kind of slow certainty, unbothered by much except predators and human interference. Unlike many large insects that earn their place through aggression or bright displays, the weta survives by stubborn endurance. Its size isn't for show, it's just how it's always been. A relic, outlasting time. Number 12. Goliath beetles. When your name sounds like a biblical giant, you've got a reputation to live up to, and Goliath beetles absolutely deliver. Found across parts of Africa, the adults can hit 4 inches in length and weigh more than 2 ounces. That alone would be enough to earn them a place in any largest insect list, but the real shock comes during their larval stage. Fat, pale, and heavy, these beetle grubs can reach 3.5 ounces, making them the heaviest known insect larvae on Earth. Unlike other massive beetles that grow long but stay relatively light, Goliaths pack weight and muscle into both stages of life. They feed mostly on fruit and sap, spending most of their time lumbering through their environment without urgency. Even now, some researchers think there might be wild adult Goliaths heavier than anything officially recorded, but weighing a live specimen without damaging it is easier said than done. They're not flashy, They're not fast, they're just built like tanks. Number 1. Atlas moths. You don't notice the colors right away, it's the sheer size that catches you. Atlas moths can stretch over 10 inches across, with wings that curl slightly like dry leaves, tricking predators into thinking they're staring at something else entirely. Their wingtips even resemble snake heads. Found throughout Southeast Asia, they rarely flutter and panic. They drift, slow, almost dreamlike. What's strange is that once they reach adulthood, they don't eat. Not a thing. All the energy they'll ever use is packed into them during their time as caterpillars, when they balloon to almost 5 inches and weigh nearly 2 ounces. Locals have found strange uses for them too, like turning their empty cocoons into coin purses. The Atlas moth doesn't sting or bite, and it only lives a few days once it breaks from its cocoon, long enough to mate, drift a bit, and disappear again. For something so massive, it lives more like a whisper than a roar. Number 10. Tarantula, hawks. There's something unnerving about an insect that hunts spiders the size of your hand and wins. Tarantula hawks don't just kill tarantulas, they use them. These wasps, mostly from the genera Pepsis and Hemipepsis, are built for one thing: paralyzing a full-grown spider, dragging it into a burrow, and laying an egg inside its still-living body. What hatches doesn't eat the whole thing right away. It takes its time, staying clear of vital organs so the meal stays fresh. Pepsis polski stands out among them, reaching nearly 3 inches in length with a wingspan of over 4 inches. Its stinger alone can measure longer than a fingernail clipping and delivers one of the most painful stings ever recorded. You won't forget it if it finds you. Still, they're not aggressive unless provoked. Despite their size, they move with a kind of slow precision, minding their own brutal business, and when one glides past you in the desert heat, you'll feel it before you see it. Number 9. Midas flies. If you're used to flies being tiny, buzzing annoyances, meeting a Midas fly can reset that entire expectation. Most of them look like oversized wasps at first glance, and some people even mistake them for one. But these are true flies, members of the Mididae family, and a few are so large they make common houseflies seem microscopic. Gora Midas heroes, found in parts of South America, currently holds the crown. At nearly 3 inches long and with a wingspan that pushes 4 inches, it's the largest known fly in the world. They look fierce, armored in dark tones with strong legs and wings that beat with authority, but they don't bite or sting. Most of them feed on nectar or decaying matter and keep out of human affairs. Their larvae, however, are less delicate, often preying on beetle grubs underground. It's a weird disconnect. The adult glides peacefully through the world while its younger self lived as a hunter in the dirt. Number 8. Hercules beetles. Few insects carry their name as well as the Hercules beetle. Native to Central and South America, males of this species come equipped with an enormous horn longer than the rest of their body. In some specimens, that horn pushes the total length to over 7 inches. It's not decorative. They use it to wrestle rivals, lifting and flipping each other in competitions that feel more like sumo matches than anything insect-sized. Strip away the horn, and the beetle's body is still wide and heavy, sometimes over an inch thick. Unlike many big insects, it can fly, though not very gracefully. When it lifts off, there's a heavy buzz, like something mechanical powering up. The horn looks intimidating, but they aren't aggressive toward humans. They feed on rotting fruit and mostly stay out of sight. Their tough exoskeleton and weight give them a presence that feels more ancient beast than a bug. In the right light, they almost don't seem real. Number 7. Giant water bugs. It's hard to ignore something called a toe biter. Giant water bugs earn the name. Found in freshwater ponds and slow-moving streams, these insects can grow up to 5 inches long, with a thick, armor-like shell and a pair of front legs designed to snatch and pierce prey in seconds. They don't rely on speed. They wait still as stone until something brushes by, then it's over. Their bite is sharp, and their saliva begins digesting prey before it's even swallowed. Fish, frogs, and even small snakes aren't safe if they're slow. In Southeast Asia, they're more than just predators, they're also a delicacy. Locals roast or boil them, praising the flavor especially in sauces and pastes. Despite the nickname, bites on humans are rare and only happen when someone steps on them by mistake. They don't chase, they ambush. Silent, hidden, and always ready. Of all the insects lurking underwater, this one carries a reputation earned through both pain and taste. And you won't believe it, some people around the world actually eat them. Number 6. Elephant beetle. No one really argues over how the elephant beetle got its name. The bulky frame and that thick, three-pronged horn do all the talking. Males use that horn the way actual elephants use tusks, pushing, prying, and winning fights when breeding season turns into a showdown. They wrestle for mates like mini tanks. When the brawling stops, that same horn gets used for more practical work, digging through soil and tearing bark to reach the sticky sap they feed on. Their larvae, buried in the undergrowth, live a slow and indulgent life, spending 2 to 3 years eating through decaying wood and leaf matter until they're heavy enough, up to 86 grams, to finally grow into something monstrous. They thrive in tropical rainforests from Mexico to South America, hidden in leaf litter, moving like armored relics from another era. Despite their intimidating size and prehistoric look, they're quiet, careful, and completely focused on their odd but ancient purpose. As one wise man said, "Your name is your identity," and this beat takes that to heart. Number 5. Actaeon beetle. Some beetles show up like living fossils, and the actaeon beetle feels like one of them. It's just too insane. Found deep in the Amazon, this massive insect doesn't flash bright colors or make noise. It just exists, slow and hulking, often over 6 inches long. It's a rhinoceros beetle, built like a medieval siege weapon. The curved armor and rounded horn give it a presence that doesn't beg for attention, it demands it. Males fight using brute strength, flipping rivals over with a single shove, but when they're not locked in battle, they retreat to the dark. You won't see them much during the day. They keep low under thick logs and fallen leaves where it's humid and quiet. The real growth happens in the soil, where larvae spend years eating decomposing vegetation, slowly reaching their final size. Their cycle is long, and their lives are mostly hidden. For something so big, it lives most of its story underground, unseen but unstoppable. Number 4. Giant long-legged katydid. Some insects don't crawl or buzz. They leap, vanish, and reappear like ghost shadows in the underbrush. The giant long-legged katydid lives among the trees in Southeast Asia, with legs so absurdly long they look drawn by exaggeration. Its body is already 4 inches long, but the limbs double or triple that visual length, making it seem alien when perched on a branch. It doesn't just sit there either. These katydids sing. Males fill the night air with sharp, echoing chirps, not soft, melodic notes, but loud pulses meant to travel far. They're green or brown depending on their surroundings, blending perfectly with forest leaves. During the day, they disappear into the foliage. At night, they come alive, jumping, feeding, and calling. It's not a flashy life, but it's finely tuned. These insects don't need venom, strength, or armor. They've got stealth, sound, and those absurdly stretched legs that let them vanish in a single leap. Now, we don't know about you, but we say just one thing. This thing looks like nature got angry on it. Number 3. Giant burrowing cockroach. Australian wildlife doesn't follow the usual script, and the giant burrowing cockroach is no exception. We mean, just look at that massive thing. No wings, no infestations, no scavenging crumbs from your kitchen counter. These cockroaches don't live with humans. They live beneath the earth, digging tunnels and shifting soil like natural rototillers. Weighing over an ounce and growing longer than 3 inches, they're the heaviest cockroach in the world. Their job isn't pestering, it's cleanup. They feed on leaf litter and help decompose dead plant material, turning forest debris into fresh, usable soil. Their lifestyle is quiet, solitary, and underground. They're gentle, rarely bite, and some people even keep them as pets. Unlike the usual short-lived bugs that scatter in panic, these can live up to a decade. In the wild, they rarely show themselves. You'll see their work before you see them. Not because they're hiding, but because they're busy doing something useful in a world that barely notices. Now imagine this thing crawling on someone's face. Well, that's a different story. But we just hate roaches. Number 2. Japanese giant hornet. This beast doesn't fly, it just hunts. The Japanese giant hornet is 2 inches of streamlined fury with a wingspan that can stretch over 3. It doesn't just sting, it injects a venom that melts tissue and sends waves of searing pain. In serious cases, it can shut down organs. The black and amber stripes aren't a fashion statement, they're a warning. These hornets don't waste energy unless they're on the move, and when they are, entire bee colonies can be torn apart in hours. They work in units, attack with coordination, and leave behind nothing but torn wings and silence. Their dominance doesn't come from chaos. It's calculated, but despite their power, they don't chase humans unprovoked. They're territorial, yes, but mostly focused on other insects. In Japan, people grow up knowing to respect their space. Swatting one isn't brave, it's reckless. What stands out isn't just their size or sting, it's how decisively they own every inch of air around them. If you ever see these dudes chilling around you, don't scream, just run and hide. Number 1. Queen Alexandra sits birdwing. Not many butterflies come with a story that begins with a shotgun. When this species was first discovered in the early 1900s, it was so large that the collector mistook it for a bird. Queen Alexandra's birdwing is the largest butterfly on the planet, and its wingspan, sometimes over 11 inches, proves it. Native only to the remote rainforests of Papua New Guinea, it's rare, regal, and impossible to confuse with anything else. Females are bigger than males, heavier and broader, with bodies over 3 inches long. Their wings stretch wide, patterned in muted earth tones, while males are slimmer with brighter colors. Despite their beauty, their future is uncertain. Habitat loss has pushed them into smaller and smaller pockets of land, as palm oil and cocoa plantations erase their forests. Collectors prize them too, which hasn't helped. The species is now endangered, not just because of how rare it is, but because beauty like this doesn't often survive unchecked human curiosity. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.